Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome to AllyCat Beauty. In today's video, we are going to be reviewing a collection that I'm very excited about. If you couldn't tell by these already, I will give you a clue. We are going to be reviewing the Coca Cola by Morphe collection that came out last month. I am really excited because I love Coca Cola. I am excited to try all of these products and review them for you guys. But without further ado, let's get started, AllyCats! Alrighty, AllyCats, so I have the entire Coca Cola by Morphe collection in front of me. I'm really excited because I love Coca Cola. I even have like Coca Cola socks on, so that's fun. And then I'm wearing this shirt, which is like red, black, and gray. It's the most Coca Cola-y themed shirt that I have. And then also I have these two cute little Coca-Cola bottles from Japan that my boyfriend got when he went over there a few times. And then of course I've got my Coca-Cola. So I will be sipping this throughout the video. But like I said before, I love Coca-Cola, so I'm really excited to be filming this video. I know I'm a little late to the game. I had some issues with shipping, which I will go over when I do my impressions, but I just didn't have the whole collection and I didn't want to film until I had everything. So I waited to film and now we're filming. Also, just a precursor, I did get a new camera, so I'm still working out some of the kinks. So if you hear some weird things or if I'm not totally in focus all the time, I apologize in advance, but I will do my best. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys all of the products, and then I'm going to do my makeup, and then I'll do swatches at the end. This is going to be a little bit longer of a video, so I do have timestamps down below, but let's get right into all of the products. So first things first, it comes with a set of sponges. They are red, Coca-Cola red, Coca-Cola red, and then black, of course. So it comes with two regular size sponges. So there's this one right here, and it's kind of got like an angle as well. And then it comes with this red one, which looks like this. And then it comes with two mini ones of the exact same shapes, just like very tiny, so they're really cute. So it comes with those four sponges. I'm probably just going to be using this black one today, the regular size one, just because I'm not super familiar with the shapes of the other sponges. So I will be trying these other three out in the future as well. Also, I'm only going to be doing one look today, but I will be filming future videos with more looks because I really do love everything in this collection, at least from looking at it online. So I do want to try everything out and give you guys a full impression on the whole collection. Next we have the highlighters. So they all come in packaging like this. The first shade is called Pop It, and this one is kind of like the gold shade. Serve Sparkling. This one is more of the bronzy shade. We have Bubbly Babe, which is the more like champagne-y gold shade. And then next we have the brush set. So this comes with like this bag. It's a plastic bag for your brushes. I obviously haven't opened this because the tissue paper is still inside. But it comes with 7 brushes. I will insert a picture too of all the different brush types that there are, but we will be using all of these today as well. And then we have the lip glosses. So it comes with 4 glosses. They are called Lip in the Moment. So it's like a whitish sparkly shade, a light pink, a red, and then there's a brown. Last but not least, the palette. So this box did come a little beat up. I don't know if you can see, like right there, it's a little bent. It's not too beat up though, so it's not the end of the world, but I'm really excited for this. Oh, and it does come in bubble wrap, so even though the box is a little beat up, at least I know the palette is still safely wrapped. But dun 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 dun! Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. So this is the palette. This is what it looks like on the outside, and then it's so pretty. So it does come with the protective sheet, and all of the names of the shadows are on there, and then this is the palette. I'm so excited. So there are 18 shades in here. I am really excited to use this, and it has a big mirror too, so that's even better. But now that we've opened everything up, let's get into the makeup. So really quick, today I am only going to do one look. My face was breaking out a little bit, so I don't want to aggravate it too much. Like I said, I will be doing future videos with other looks, especially using different shades from this palette, because I do have a lot of ideas on different creative looks that you can do. Like I said before, I will be doing swatches, so at least you'll be able to see all of the different shades and shadows of everything that is in this collection. So just to give you a little heads up on how I'm going to do this, I am going to speed through a lot, but I will show you the Coca Cola products when I use them. All of the products that I do use will be listed down below. As you can already tell, I did my eyebrows and I primed my face already, so we are ready for the foundation. So I went ahead and wet the sponge. It's already a lot bigger than it was when it was dry. It's like the whole size of my hand now. But we're gonna start with foundation and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I put the usual amount of foundation on my hand, maybe a little more than what I usually use, but this sponge, like, I only used one layer at first and it basically covered my entire face. I went over with a second layer, but like my skin looks like super smooth right now, just like even close up in the camera. I did have like a couple blemishes and bumps, so up close you can definitely see those, but like my skin just like looks really great right now. I feel like I really like the way that this sponge applies my foundation. I feel like it didn't soak up too much of it. So now I'm going to be going in with concealer. I'm going to be using my Morphe concealer in 1.55. Alrighty, so that is the concealer done. I actually really like the way that it blended out as well on top of the foundation. The sponge didn't really pick up any of that product that was already there. So I'm really liking this sponge. Another thing too that I really like about it is even with this pointed side that is a little bigger, I was able to really easily like get around my brows so that I didn't like mess them up. So I really do like this sponge. I'll go more into my impressions later on in the video, but now we are going to move on to the eyeshadow. What I think I'm gonna do is start out with a transition shade, which I think for me the best one is gonna be this one called Recognize, and then I'll probably get more of the color from either this one, which is The Real Thing, or this one, which is called Name Drop. And then I'll deepen it up with either this one right here or this really, really dark one if I need more of that depth. But I do have all of the brushes out, so I will show you guys all of them. They don't have like names on them or anything, but they have the Coca Cola like logo on them. So this one's a little denser. This one is kind of more of like a larger pencil brush. This one to me feels like a blending brush. This is definitely like a flatter pencil brush for sure. This one, I don't know what it's called, but it's like a flat shader brush, I guess you could say. This one I actually would use for highlighting, so like under the brow bone. This also feels kind of like a blending brush to me, slash a shader brush. We're gonna play around with the brushes, honestly, since there aren't like actual names of what they are on the base of the brush. I just kind of use what looks right to me. I'm not a brush expert, so we are just gonna go ahead and get started. I'm just gonna dip into Recognized just a little bit. Oh, I didn't put on my eyes. Let me do that real quick. So I dipped in with Recognized, and I'm just gonna go right over my crease on both eyes just to kind of give it that base color. Okay, now with the same brush, I am gonna dip into The Real Thing. So that's this one right here. It is a little more like deeper than this one. So I'm gonna use that for the inner and the outer corner. So I'm bringing that around my crease and keeping it also in the outer and inner corner. I'm not getting that in the middle so that I can do this halo eye. And then with this bigger blender brush, I am going to blend that out a little just so the edges aren't too harsh. And now what I'm going to do, I am going to go in with that deeper shade and I'm going to deepen up the outer and inner. So I think I'm going to go in with this shade right here, which is, what is it called? It's called All the Feels. I'm going to use this little fluffy brush and see how that goes, just so that it's a little more targeted. I'm just going to take a little bit and dab it into the outer and inner corners. I'm going to go back in with the first brush I used to blend that out, and I am going to take a little bit of The Real Thing on my brush as well to blend that out. And I do want a little extra depth too, so I'm going to go in with that deepest shade, which is this one right here, and that one is called Refreshing. I'm just going to take a tiny, tiny bit of that. So now I'm going to use the larger blender brush to blend out that deepest shade. So I do like the amount of depth on that. I am going to go back in with a little bit of The Real Thing to kind of round out the edges. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I still have some whiteness, I guess you could say, on the inner part of the lid, so I'm not gonna cut the crease, but I am gonna go in with, I think, this shimmer shade, this one right here. That one is called Awaken. So for that, I am gonna take this denser, shorter brush, the shorter shader brush, and I'm just gonna go straight in with that. I'm not gonna go in wet or anything. I'm just gonna put that straight on. I am, with my finger, gonna take a little bit of this lightest sparkly shade, which is called Fizz, just to give it a little more intensity. So there's a little bit of fallout, but I'm gonna do my lower lash line now. So I'm gonna take this like tinier pencil brush, and I'm gonna go in with the shade, I think it was called The Real Thing, and then I'm going to deepen it up as well. I'm just going right by my waterline. And I'm going to go in with the deeper shade, so All the Feels and Refreshing, and I'm going to deepen up that lower lash line, and I'm going to go in a little bit more on the top to deepen it up as well. I am going to use this larger kind of pencil-ish brush. Okay, so I just kind of did the same thing that I did on the lid on the lower lash line. But as you can see, I did deepen up that outer and inner corner a little bit, and I think that really helped to bring out the middle shimmer. So I am going to go ahead and do eyeliner, mascara, bronzer, and blush, and then we will be back to do the highlighters. Alrighty, I'm back. So I did the eyeliner, mascara, blush, bronzer, all that good stuff, and now it is time for the highlight. I'm going to try out the more bronzy highlighter today, just very lightly to see how that goes. So that one is Serve Sparkling. It does come with like a plastic thing over this, which is good. So I'm going to go ahead and use this brush. So I'm just going to take a little bit on my brush, very lightly, just because it is a deeper color and I don't want it to show up too dark on me. So I'm just going to take that right on my cheekbone. So this brush is a little thin for that area. I'm going to take it a little bit on my brow bone though and see how that goes. So it's definitely more of a like bronzy color. I would say this is probably better for people with deeper skin tones, but I wanted to buy the whole collection, so I bought everything. I am going to do the same thing on the other side just so it's a little even, and then I'll go in with a lighter highlight on top of it. So yeah, I don't know if you can see on camera because I did put a very light layer and I used a very light hand with it, but there is a glow there. I just probably would use this more for like an eyeshadow topper or like an inner corner or something like that, just because it is a little deep for my skin tone, which going into it when I bought it, I figured that that would be probably how it would be, but there is a nice glow to it. So I am going to go over it with a lighter shade. I think just to offset it, I'm going to go in with Bubbly Babe, which is the lightest out of all of them. So I'm also going to use my other highlighter brush for my cheekbones just because it is a little thicker and fluffier. This one is pretty dense, so I would use this for my brow bone, but for my cheekbones I'm going to go in with this one. Woof! Yeah, and there's definitely, you can definitely see that highlight already. I actually do like this on top of the bronzier one because it does give that bronzy, with the bronzier one as a base and then this one as a topper on top of that, it almost gives like a more skin tone shade for me as opposed to like super blinding. So I do like that. And I'm also gonna go in with this same shade with my lip blur and eye blur brush, and I'm going to use this for my inner corner. Awesome, so that's definitely pretty blinding. So I think that is good, but I do like this highlighter so far, and now I'm going to go and move on to the lip gloss. So for the lip gloss today, I am going to use the red shade. This one is called Classic Babe, so I'm assuming it's going to be like a classic Coca Cola red. Oh my gosh, wow. So this can definitely be a little more sheer if you just put it on like one lip and you rub your lips together, but I do want it to be a little more bold, so I'm going to go ahead and put on another coat. Alrighty, so this is the finished look. I'm going to set my face really quick and then we are going to go into swatches and my first impressions. So the highlighters from left to right, we have Bubbly Babe, Serve Sparkling, and Pop It. Next, we have the top row of the eyeshadow palette. From left to right, it goes Fizz, Bubble Up, Recognized, The Real Thing, Awaken, and Name Drop. For the second row of the palette, we have Open Up, Cool Story, Always Bright, Good in Red, Pop Culture, and Add Life. For the bottom row of the palette, we have Happiness, Can Do, Move It, All the Feels, Energetic, and Refreshing. And finally, for the lip glosses, from top to bottom, we have Tastemaker, Overflow, Classic Babe, and Share. Alrighty, AllyCats, so I'm going to go ahead and give my impressions really quickly on this collection so far, on what I've used. The sponge I love so far, absolutely. It feels great on my skin. It feels really smooth. It doesn't really absorb product, so I think that it's great. And it applied really, really easily, and just the way that it's shaped, it's easy to get like around my eyebrows and in like crevices, like right under my eye. So I really like the sponge. Next, let's move on to the brushes. So I used all except one. I didn't get to use this brush, but it does seem like a pretty standard brush, so I'm sure it works fine. I did really like these 5 that I used for the eyeshadow. They blended out really well. It was really easy to apply with all of them. This small, tiny pencil one, though, was a little hard to work with under my waterline, but for the most part, it worked pretty fine. It wasn't like a huge hassle. This brush right here, the flared brush, I think will work best for like your brow bone, but as a regular highlighter brush, I definitely wouldn't use it just because it is a little more dense, so it does fit really nicely right underneath the brow. But for your cheekbone, I would say probably not. But overall, I think that these brushes are really good. They're pretty good quality, so I'll be playing around with them more, but overall I do really like them. And then next we have the eyeshadow palette. So I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I used 6 out of the 18 shades, so I used about a third of this palette. I thought that the shades really blended nicely together, and when I was going in with the deeper shades, it really did add that depth and it didn't blend out into nothing. So I do really like this palette so far. I'm excited to use the pops of colors. So I'm really excited to get to use like this middle row right here. I do really like the way that the shimmers turned out, though. I will say that using your finger to apply is going to be better than just using a brush, but even with a brush, that shade Awaken applied pretty well as well. So I'm really happy with this eyeshadow palette too. And then the highlighters, so far the quality of them is really good. I love a loose highlighter. I'm not as big of a fan as a pressed powder highlighter, but I'll use it. The bronzy shade was definitely a little too dark for me, which I kind of guessed that when purchasing it, but I wanted to try it out anyway. I will say that the bronze shade underneath this lighter goldish champagne shade does look really, really nice. But overall, the highlighters are definitely something that you can use very lightly and not have too much of a glow, or you can build them up. So I really like that about the highlighters. So far, those are a big plus. And then lastly, the lip glosses. I will say that this lip gloss is bleeding a little bit, like right down here, but it doesn't feel sticky after application. When I applied it, it did feel a little sticky, but like right now, it feels like really smooth. It does feel really hydrating. I do really like this color so far, and the formula is pretty good. So I'll keep testing this out to see whether or not I really, really love the lip glosses or not, but for sure, the eyeshadow palette is definitely amazing, and I love the highlighters too. The brushes were great, and I love the sponge. Like I said, I will be filming future videos with this whole collection, so I will be updating you on my opinions on it as we go along. Another thing that I do want to mention, though, is that this collection as a whole took a month and a half to get to me. I ordered it when it first came out, which was, I think it was like June 20th or something like that, around that time. Everything except for the sponges came in like 2 weeks, which with COVID, I understand that that's like 2 weeks is probably more normal in terms of a shipping time. But the sponges was the only thing that was shipped separately, and it took me a month and a half to get them. So I wasn't really happy about that. Also, it literally was at, because I kept checking the shipping updates, and it was at the post office for like 10 days before it got to me. So I don't know why it was at the post office for 10 days. I don't know why it took a month and a half to get to me in general. So that wasn't exactly my greatest experience with Morphe and their shipping, but other than that, I'm really happy with the product. So my camera cut out real fast. Anyway, I'm gonna just continue with my first impressions. So the thing with this collection is I feel like it didn't get as much hype as it could have. Morphe released this collection, I believe, like June 18th or June 20th or something like that. And then literally a week later, they released the Maddie Ziegler collection. And I feel like that got a lot more hype than this collection did, even though this collection did sell out really fast. And then a month after that, they released Morphe 2. So I feel like they didn't do as much promoting for this Coca Cola collection as they did with the Maddie Ziegler collection, or as they did with the Morphe 2 collection. So that is kind of a bummer. So that is my first impressions. If you guys liked this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and comment down below. Let me know what looks you want me to do next. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and if you want to get a notification every time I upload a new video, go ahead and ring that bell as well. And don't forget to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at AllyCat Beauty. And remember, beauty radiates from within, so don't forget to be confident and be you. See you later, AllyCats!